Today I'm doing an overview on my project that I have here, and by the way, this is the first video for the channel. I'm not used to recording outside, but you know, I'm doing this for the channel. I'm gonna start to get used to this. But anyway, I have a 1978 Chevrolet G20 Chevy van with a 5.7 liter V8 engine. And this project I have recently been working on off camera. I started it about 2 months ago. The story behind this van was parked here in the driveway in 2006 and just left. We didn't really do much with it, and it technically has been sitting for 10 years now. And I decided to start off the project videos. I would just do an overview of what the heck, you know, I'm working on and what I'm dealing with here. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into that. So as you can see already by the style, if you can clearly notice the mirrors as well as the headlights, you can tell that it is late 70s, because yeah, around 77 they went from one headlight to two headlights on each side, and basically high and low beams. The mid to early 70s Chevy vans only had one headlight. Of course every vehicle has two headlights, but I mean, it just had a single headlight. As well, you can tell that this is not an 80s or 90s model by the mirrors, because these mirrors are specifically were, I guess, put on GM vehicles during the 70s, and maybe yeah, not 60s, they're just 70s. You know, I don't know all the detail. As you can see over here, yes, I live in Texas, and this is the last registration and inspection stickers that were put on here before it was left to rot. Yep. So anyway, I decided to just move on to next things, the interior. So this is basically the tattered insides of this van. I'm going to be moving over from the driver's side in a minute, but overall, yeah, the driver's side seat is probably the worst, and all of this interior has to be redone, because just based on how old it is, I mean, most of this is just deteriorating. This cushion is no good. I mean, it might be a little bit good, but overall it's really dusty and kind of just particly. Yeah, and overall, and of course the fabric is teared like hell. So yeah, I also have the steering wheel off of here because we're troubleshooting the steering wheel, because oddly the steering wheel had this issue with the sticky material on it, and it just was totally uncomfortable to use. You know, I started off by wanting to go to the salvage yard and pick up a new steering wheel, but when we got there, which that salvage yard specifically pick and pull, yeah, so when we got there, and the oldest Chevy van they had there was an 84, and the steering wheel was totally different. On top of it, we didn't even really have the tools to take it off, and it was almost about as sticky as the one that was on here. And a few days after that failure, we figured out that dish soap, you know, just scrubbing it really hard, it's a very porous rubber, and just scrubbing it with dish soap and getting as much in as you can actually cleans it up, but it takes a really long time. Another thing about this sticky stuff that I noticed is that it gets on your fingers and it's very difficult to take off. Yeah, other than that, the mileage on here I believe is like 171,758 miles, I believe. Not exactly sure if that's a 1 or a 2, because of course they half-assed the odometer. They didn't put the necessary number that was needed there, so it's kind of like a mystery, you know, because of course this number over here doesn't count. Yeah, and we got a few other components here. We got headlight switch, wipers. We also have AC controls, ignition. Not exactly sure what that hole is for. Up here, not exactly sure what this knob is for. There obviously was supposed to be a knob there, but whatever. These two holes right here, I believe, are the turn signal indicators. And of course we just got vents. As well, the stereo over here is pretty old. It's like probably 80s. It might even be the original stereo. It's basically a cassette player. It's not, yeah, it's pretty old. Yeah, and then of course here is the rear end of the engine. Got the doghouse off, and the other night we were gonna look at the carburetor to see if it was clean, and if it isn't, gonna clean it out before we try to turn over this engine. And so that's why the filter and other components are off. Yeah, as well, the cruise control on this is broken. Gotta replace that. Overall, the other components on here are fine. Turn signal. This is actually an automatic transmission shifter. Well, shifter, to be specific. Yeah. When it was parked here, the transmission was going bad. So overall, it's gonna have to be taken out and overhauled. And a few other components here. We have parking brakes, brake release. Yeah, so of course you can definitely tell it's an automatic, doesn't have a clutch. And that's pretty much an overview of the driver's side. And in a few minutes I'm going to open this up. Now moving on to the passenger side. Over here we don't have much but a vent. The passenger side seat is in really good condition. The fabric is a bit tattered on this one. You know, cushion still isn't that great. It's just as old as the cushion on there, so it all has to get reupholstered. Yeah, another thing is on the doors. I've had to take the door panels off because I've been doing work lately. Just recently, we replaced out the bolts on each mirror. This mirror originally, the top bolt, it was stripped. They had like rivets that held the previous, like, it was ghetto as hell. They had one set of screws on this side and they had another system over on the other side to hold these mirrors on, and I'm assuming that this side, what they had on this side was original, but the other side was replaced. And then at the time this one was okay, but then eventually it wore out too. So yeah, So he pretty much took the same system, which was screw washer, washer on the front, then washer inside the door, and then a spring washer, and then a nut. And that was what was on the other door, but it got rusted out, so we just replaced all of it. And so pretty much it holds. This passenger side door isn't that great. It's had a lot of problems closing. Like right now we get it adjusted to the point where it actually just closes right. You know, it will lock, but sometimes it will get like loose, and then what will happen is you have to slam it extremely hard for it to click into place, or else if you just close it like I just did, just normally, it won't lock into place. So yeah, it's another issue. Another issue on both the driver's side and the passenger side doors is the seals. Window seals, gotta replace them. I just recently pulled out all of the most of the window seals. You know, originally the seal on the bottom of this was broken. There's a hole in it, and I tried pulling it out, but this stuff is like freaking tar. So yeah, so pretty much this has to come out, and I have to replace the seals, and the seals are freaking expensive, probably like $300, I believe, or 600 bucks. But yeah, really expensive. Yeah, and that's pretty much why I have the door panels off. I put the door panels, I was working on finishing this door, putting this door panel back on, but right now there's only pretty much 5 screws holding it in out of the 8 screws, because a few of these are not like tightening. Oh yeah, and there's actually a 6th screw. I'm not sure, that one probably barely works, but it's pretty stripped. I also took the speaker systems out of these doors because they were just way far gone. This used to have wood panel. Each door used to have wood panel, but they all had to go. It was just gone. Yeah. And then the armrests, those have to be reupholstered, because I found out that they have the exact same issue as the steering wheel. They're really sticky. And that is a problem. Then, yeah. So that's pretty much a review of the front. Now we're getting towards the further end of the van. So you can see I'm right here in the reflection of the cooler. Yeah, so this is a conversion van, so you know it's made for like stealth camping, just friggin' park somewhere and sleep, because this is actually a bench seat that converts into a bed, and of course, as you see, I have it as a bed right now because it's making a good shelf for the doghouse and a few other things that I really just don't need on the floor. As well, a seal in the back window fell out, which I'm going to be going over the back windows. Yeah, and you can see the driver's side door panels right here, and then up there on top of the counter is speakers. Those 2 speakers are for at the bottoms of the doors. They might still be good, so I might just be able to reconnect them, but redo the paneling on the doors or something. This van, I have to admit that going towards the late 70s vans, so 77, 79, 78, well, 77, 78, 79, I can't count, but those 3 years weren't that great, and a lot of things were pretty cheaply done on this van. You know, some things were incorrectly done, as the doors. Someone was trying to put something, or someone had put something on both doors and freaking made a bunch of useless holes. You know, like right here, just, you know, freaking typical 2 holes. Yeah. And just pointless, and then this pointless cutting for the speakers down here. And it's just freaking awful. They didn't even try sanding that down. It's like a blade. You know, that's how sharp it is. And there's also some more pointless holes down towards, further down towards the bottom. Yeah. And the wood paneling, technically this actually isn't wood. Well, technically it is. It's balsa wood with fake stain on it. So, yeah, and pretty much even as the same stuff is on the sidewall over here. Yeah, all of this is just fake wood, and it has rotten easily, and you know, a lot of it has fallen apart. Like, there's supposed to be wood that runs down towards here, but I had to pull it out because it was held in by cheap ass staples. And yeah, you know, and then another thing is there's 2 side windows here. They're slider windows. Those windows are actually custom windows, because I did some research on the same exact fan. Could not find any windows like it, but they're basically slider windows. And in here, yeah, and then we get the back end, and this is pretty interesting. Instead of having the spare tire mounted underneath, it's actually just mounted right here on the door, which is pretty convenient. There's a lock on it, but my old man, the old dinger who parked this thing here and left it, he put the lock on there to secure that, because when he bought it, it didn't have a lock, and he lost the key for it, so we gotta like cut it off of there or something to access the spare tire now. Yeah, and as you can see, the paint, it's got a lot of rust. You know, the coat on it just deteriorated, and then after that it just became exposed metal, and it was basically whatever the weather wanted to do to it, so it's pretty rusty. It's also rusty up top. You know, another thing I didn't go over is the sunroof. There's actually sunroof in here, but it is manual, and the latches for it have already broken, so I have to use clamps to hold it in, but it sometimes leaks. And yeah. And as I was talking about, these slider windows. Now, these slider windows are custom, and on top of that, you know, custom actually probably aftermarket, you know, but these are actually pretty damn stupid if you think about it, because as you can see, I'm clearly accessing. Okay, this is like, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so I basically, okay, I'm gonna be wrapping this video up real quick. The camera overheated and it just friggin' shut down the video on me. But overall, as I was going over, these windows are actually pretty stupid because they have no security. They might have a net here, but someone could cut this net open, and they could basically stick their hands in here if they see something that they want. So yeah, and plus the seals and crap for it are really bad. It's all sticking out. You know, it's rusty as hell down here, so it's really difficult. But one thing I like about them is they're tinted. Yeah, so moving on. Then we have the two back windows. This is double door back here, so technically there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5-door van. Yeah, a slider door over there that I didn't go over, but these two. Okay, so my camera was being a bitch. It ran out of space on me after I started it up, after it overheated. But as I was going over, these windows crack open, and I mean, they're kind of useful and not much. As you can see, it has a nice Chevrolet logo, and it's got tail lights, and I just recently replaced this turn signal cover, which I'll have the link for the video down in the description on my other channel. And this was actually brand new, and I put it on here, and it's been doing really well lately. It's been really sealing. Of course, the original owner, or previous owner, some previous owner of this van, ran into something and made a big old dent, and it broke the original part, and so I replaced that successfully, and now I gotta later knock out that dent when I might paint this thing. But pretty much that's just an overview of what I have here. I'll go ahead and, since I might have space actually, I might be able to open this up. So I'll go ahead and be right back. Alright, so I officially have the front end of the engine open. Yeah, the front end, whatever. You know, it's a cab over, so it's kind of confusing, but it's actually interesting at the same time, because you could either work on it inside or outside. Yeah, but overall you have to do that if you're working on certain pieces that run from this end inside. Yeah, so I got a few components to go over here. Got our coolant reservoir, our windshield wiper fluid reservoir. We also have the brakes, brake fluid compartments, and go ahead and open those. See if this will work. Okay. Oh geez. Okay. I guess that Hornet's just off to whatever the hell. Yeah. So, of course, over the years as it's been sitting here, there's been quite a few, mainly Hornet nests that are on this engine. So, you know, eventually, after we get it back on the road and registered, we'll probably do an engine rebuild to clean all that crap out. Okay, this ran into another space issue. The video is gonna kind of be choppy, but overall, I popped this off. We'll go ahead and pull this out. And as you can see, the first compartment, the very big compartment, is pretty full. And over here, the smaller compartment is actually not full. So that means there's kind of an issue going on with the brakes. I recently, the front wheels here, I decided to rotate them, just like not take them off, but just give them a turn since the way they were sitting. And the driver's side wheel did spin freely, but when I got over to passenger side wheel would not budge. The brakes were locked. So there's kind of an issue with the brakes. Another thing is both the caps for the windshield wiper fluid reservoir and the coolant reservoir I had recently replaced, so that you don't so I don't have to like put tape over this, just do it the half-ass way and stuff, and other crap like that. Now it's kind of low light in here, can't really see. I already showed you guys the carburetor, but I will be going over more as I work on this thing. I believe this is oil. This is the oil. Okay, so for the third time I freed up a little bit more space. I'm going to make this quick, but I don't exactly know where the transmission dipstick is. As down in here is the battery tray, and yeah, so that's pretty much just an overview. This is some AC components, there's radiator cap, and just other stuff. Yeah, and then just over here I've been doing work, the Corsica, which I'm gonna be which I actually have some information about on my other channel, which I'm gonna be putting on this videos on this channel over the Corsica. Recently I replaced the battery for the Corsica inspection and registration, and I decided, well, the old battery, we'll just leave that for the van. So what we did is got a charger, and we got a nice AC Delco rollaway tray, tool cart, and so we've been working on it for the past few days, checking the levels and checking the acid levels and stuff, and making sure all the cells, each cell is bubbling, and just making sure we could get this battery up to. And for a fourth time, the camera's giving me shit, but I'll just make it quick for the fourth time. Well, yeah, so the battery charger's running right now because my old man wanted to charge up the batteries for the electric lawnmower, which we have not used in ages. So pretty much overall, next video is going to be putting this battery in the van, and getting it to turn over and stuff. So that's pretty much an overview. Thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.